Good afternoon, my dungeon boss brethren. Today we're going to talk about a hot topic that has been coming in through the chats in game pretty much nonstop for the last few months. And the topic at hand is, where the hell are the updates in this game? So we went from basically getting some new heroes to some kind of pseudo new content to kind of just a little bit of radio silence, and then like hardcore radio silence to excessive recycled events. Not even so much as swapping out heroes, for example, or the quests, even literally just flat out recycled events. Like everything is on autopilot, and people are wondering like, what is going on? And the consensus, this game is dead. Everybody likes to say that game's dead. Move on, whatever. And so I'm sitting here thinking, I'm like, what's the scoop? And I was under the impression. So I started in December, and we're close to a year in at that point from my interactions with other people. And there had been regular updates. They had worked on getting all the ports over, getting everything up and running, getting storylines, all that stuff, the base game set up. That took probably close to a year to do, and then game essentially rolled out. Let's just call it V1 at that point. The first part, maybe we'll call it early access, then V1, the main game, and then shortly after, I picked it up and started playing. And we see a bunch of new heroes drop. We saw the calendar events, a lot of good stuff in a very short amount of time. And then things started to scale back, and people started saying like, when are we going to get the next thing? When's going to be the next hero? When's going to be the next big event? When's going to be the next um, mode, boss mode or challenge mode? And so I was kind of playing the odds a little bit in terms of what I had been seeing recently. And I thought, you know what? I was looking at some background stuff, and I'm looking at Netflix earning call, and I'm thinking, August seems about the perfect time to release one last, sizable update for this game. It would be right before they do their earnings call. They can have one more last hit, get some subscribers into the game, prove that the game is doing well. Whatever it is that the Netflix brass, or at least the sub-departmental brass, wants to at least show to Netflix and ultimately to Netflix investors at their shareholder meetings. And then August kind of came and went, and what did we get? We got this monster and reptiles event for a month long event, which tells me there ain't nobody working on this game. So this is just another recycled event where they pull a couple of strings, and the stuff just autopilots. And so I started thinking, it's like, what would compel them to do that to this game? Like, why is there nothing happening? Now I know a little bit about development in software. I don't know much about AAA studios versus small studios. I know that a mobile app studio could really be three dudes in a studio apartment somewhere in the valley. That's very much possible. You get one person who's good at this piece here, one person's good at that. You get one person who's got the graphic design, and now all of a sudden you have the working parts for a mobile app studio. Throw in somebody who can help with the monetizing and the financing of it, and you got a skeleton crew, maybe like five guys, let's say. So I remember in the old school game, there was two main developers that I actually had interacted with a number of times. We used to have um, weekly or bi-weekly like sessions with them. They would talk about patch fixes and take feedback. There's two guys that actually worked on the game, so that tells me that their team was pretty small. And so there was a big transition in the game a couple of times. So Dungeon Boss started out um, very modest, very straightforward. It's like, here's the thing: you level up some roster and you go through some quests. You get level 50, and that's that. The type of game was actually fairly new. It was not something that was widespread at that time. We're going back to, let's say, about 2014, so about 10 years ago. We're at the sort of really dawn of, but like the peak of the dawn of mobile games. And so we're at that point where a lot of people have smartphones at that point. Everyone's getting into the mobile sector. all that stuff. And then ultimately, I think the game caught wind a little bit, and then they boosted out some things. All of a sudden, here we were, level 55 max, level 60 max, level 65, 70. All of a sudden, we're character level keeps going up and up and up. The game is progressing well. There was a point in time before I quit the game, maybe in 20 I think I quit in about 2018. So I was playing and recording videos as far back as 2016, as I know. 2018 is when I ultimately left. Somewhere around 2017, there was a shift where I don't recall if the studio was sold, if they did something different, studio bought them out. My familiarity with that is a little bit fuzzy, and I seem to recall other people talking about that particular event. But something happened where monetization became the forefront of the game. We saw a lot of stuff drop very, very quickly. There was a hero release almost every other week, to the point of various specialty bundles and limited time offers. All this stuff that's basically saying drop 99.99 on this hero. You get all the hero tokens. You get some extra runes. This, that, and the other thing. Um, and we'd found, or at least I had found, that the game was heavily steered towards monetization. Now, when I look at that from a business standpoint, I think of why would we take such a aggressive approach into monetization if we didn't need to? And maybe it was a greed thing, maybe it was not. But what I'm thinking is that maybe somewhere around 2018, maybe this is before COVID even, but 2017, 2018, maybe we started to see a little bit of financial stress within the studio. Maybe the need for the game was outgrowing what they could um, do. And maybe they brought on some extra developers, whatever it might have been. Maybe it brought on some financial strain. I don't know if that's when they would have ultimately started maybe shopping around to sell their licenses and say, like, here's the rights to this game. I don't really know the ins and outs of that, but something definitely happened around that point. And then you fast forward to a few years later. I'd already left the game at that point. I checked in from here and there. Saw some things that changed, some reverted back, some got better, some got worse, all that stuff. And then all of a sudden I see Netflix buys it. So that brings us forward to today. Netflix purchases Dungeon Boss Fight Studios, whatever they actually purchased, I don't really know. But now Dungeon Boss is under Netflix. And I had asked this right from the start. It was one of my first videos, I think. I said, what is Netflix's angle here? This doesn't make any sense, because their whole big thing was take away the microtransactions. Now you guys, the fans, the people who love this game, can essentially play it free, even playing field, nothing to worry about. And I'm sitting there thinking, it's like there's got to be some sort of an angle, and I can't believe it's taken me 9 months to figure out that angle. But as I'm just sitting there in shower thoughts one day, I'm like, you know what? I think we kind of got duped on this. And so then I look back and I say, what could Netflix have possibly cared about this game? I mean, it's just a game. You can't tell me that some lower level exec at Netflix played this game and was like, man, we should really buy this, after having bought however many other mobile games. And I started to think, it's like Netflix is a corporate giant. They have billions of dollars. Why would they want this little game here? And I started thinking, this may have just been a simple financial engine for them. And so this was just a routine business transaction. And so it goes a little something like this. So Netflix and or Boss Fight, they're in discussion, possibly selling out the rights to this game here. Netflix comes along and says, you know what? How many people play your game? And this is straight from Google Play on what it is right now. And Boss Fight says, well, we have 100,000 players. Right now, as of right now, Dungeon Boss Respawn has 100,000 plus downloads. That's what Google Play tells me. So that's the number that I'm using here. And Boss Fight says, or not Boss Fight, Netflix says, that ain't half bad. We like that. So in comes the Netflix brass, or at least the sub-departmental brass. It's obviously not going all the way up to the top. It's going to be Netflix mobile gaming division and some lower level VP that says, you know what? We are prepared to offer you Boss Fight. We're going to offer you $3 million cash for a buyout. And they say, you know what? Let's look at this. We're pulling in roughly 30,000 a month. 30,000 a month in microtransactions. So 30,000 a month is 360,000 a year. And they're thinking, okay, 6 million, we'll take that. 3 million, we'll take that. Whatever that number was, Netflix already had them hook, line, and sinker. It didn't matter what the number was. They could have offered them 10 million and it would have been okay because it would have fit the financial goal that they ultimately want. So let's just say we have 100,000 downloads of original Dungeon Boss. We have that tangibly in record saying, yes, we've had this game downloaded 100,000 times. They could pitch that to Netflix. Netflix says, all right, here's your check, $6 million. And again, these are fictitious numbers, but it illustrates a point. And so, what is Netflix's goal in doing this? They just shelled out $6 million. Why would they do that? Well, because they know that that 6 million is going to turn into 20 million, and boom, just like that. So let's think of it this way here. We have 100,000 um, players. Now, we know that there aren't that many players. If you're in game, you know that there's not 100,000 active players. That's besides the point. They don't need to show that. They just need to show investors that, and they need to show the top brass that. They basically say, let's do this. Let's run a report. Let's run our analytics and say, we just launched Dungeon Boss Respawn. How many Netflix accounts are created that play this game? They have this game downloaded and they are a recent new account within the last month or 2 months. Easy reports for Netflix to run. They can run that. And so let's just say hypothetically that it was 100,000 new accounts. There's literally 100,000 downloads on the Netflix version right now. 100,000 times, let's just ballpark it out, $10 a month for Netflix subscription. 100,000 times 10 is 1 million. That's for 1 month of subscription. I played this game for the last 9 months, and it was about a year before that. So 12 months plus another 8, that's 20 months. So 1 month is 1 million, 20 months is 20 million. They pay 6 million to boss fight. They have now just pocketed 14 million in theoretical money. Now that obviously that theory breaks down just a little bit when you consider accounts like myself. I play this game, but I already had a Netflix account, so they can't really lump my gamemanship into that transaction because I was already going to have Netflix as it was already, which is why you said you'd have to look at instances of new accounts that were created. But even if a bunch of subscribers only jumped in just to check out the game, and they said, you know what, I'll get into Netflix. Maybe they get hooked into something else with Netflix. But if this game was a catalyst, the amount of subscriptions coming into Netflix to essentially pay off this minor transaction in this gamble is very easy to accommodate. And so what I think happened in the last probably 3 to 4 months, they hit their peak ROI numbers and said, you know what, we did it. We paid Boss Fight $6 million for this game. We're now sitting 12, 13 million in the green based on subscriber count and new accounts. Everybody could quit right now and be fine. So now we're at a point where there's no incentive to do anything with the game. We don't need to pay developers anymore. We turn it down to autopilot, let people play, let people quit. Remember, Netflix does not have any emotional commitment to this game. This was a financial engine for Netflix itself, and maybe some executive or sales executive in there to say, I did this transaction and I netted Netflix $14 million. They get a 5% commission of that, and all of a sudden they have a nice little commission check. It could be that simple in terms of how this mobile development is going for Netflix. Is it's just buying up a couple of things that they can parlay into a few subscriptions and just show through some simple reporting that an account was created on this date. We saw that there was an immediate proximity to this game being downloaded. Ergo, this account was created to play this game. We did that for you, Netflix. A little bit of kickback on that subscriber. get some weird multi-level marketing type stuff with the trickle down, and some sales executive or sales VP somewhere gets some commission. People are happy like me where I'm not paying for something else. I have a free to play game that's actually free to play. I'm paying for Netflix to watch my other shows, not to play this game. I'm in my perfect little bubble here. A lot of people are happy, a bunch of people make money. I get this. I don't make any money off of it. But the ecosystem holds up, and it only really starts to break down when you start to get this player level revolt. People starting to say, we want more out of this game. At that point, I don't know if Netflix is listening. I don't know if the studio is listening. I don't know if there's even anybody working at the studio right now. Somebody wrote some code to basically say, we got enough content to make this thing cyclical and it could work for months on end. Somebody might check in here and there to ultimately set up new events or release a new hero, but we have nothing tangible right now that suggests anybody is working on this game, just given the fact that there's been no new heroes dropped. There hasn't even been really any new events listed. So um, for those of you that are just wondering, like, what am I going to do with this game? Essentially, after you get through all of the storylines, you're just doing a little bit of a daily grind, doing some PvP. So my daily grind is I just do the tower every day. I do a little bit of I go through 0 to Legend 3 PvP usually every single Tuesday night, and then I leave it at that. And depending on who the hero is, so a lot of recently the PvP hero, the reward has been someone where I've only needed 50 more tokens to 6 star. Well, that's accommodated just by the guild rewards. Even the ones that are 100 tokens, you do Legend 3 in open PvP, and just a couple little clicks in silver and gold PvP, and you have 100 tokens to 6 star. And so I've had a number of instances where I didn't have to do PvP on the week, and there's certainly no incentive to do so either. And you just take those weeks off. And so there's literally probably hundreds or thousands of us just sitting around waiting for something to do. And we're not getting that. And truthfully, I don't know that we're going to. I think the next thing that we will actually get that is worth anything is likely going to be Winterfest 2024. Are they going to release any new heroes? I don't know if there's any winter themed heroes that are not already in the game already. So I'm very confident they will do Winterfest, but will there be a new hero that coincides with that? Don't know. Um, but that's my little rant for the day here. Is I think we are all baited by Netflix into this free experience where everyone's on an even playing field, and now you can take it into your own hands. And we did that, but then they had no incentive to do anything else past that. It wouldn't take them much to unlock boss mode or challenge mode. It's just flipping a switch. All the quests and all the mechanics could have stayed the same, save for a few heroes that they didn't release. But there's also nothing stopping them from releasing heroes either. There's nothing stopping them from releasing runes. The only thing stopping them would be said incentive. Why pay developers 80, 90, 100, 120, $160,000 a year to work on this when they've already made their money? And again, no emotional attached to the game. So here we are. Now, am I going to quit playing? No, I'm not going to quit playing. I still have some things I want to accomplish. It'd be pretty weak to just quit after a year. Somebody has to be here to be the telecaster for what's going on. Nobody else is obviously posting videos on this game, so somebody's got to be the voice for the game. And if anybody from Netflix hears this and sees this, I am indeed calling you out. If you want me to stop, my fee is a lot less than $6 million. So um, if you don't want me to talk bad, you know, I'll take six figures. But that's where we stand. So I don't know if the game's going to get better. I don't. It surely can't get any worse. It just run out of things to do. I would like to see some updates. But as of right now, it just doesn't look like there's anything on the forefront. Once we start a new fiscal year, maybe January, then they'll have to do some more proving. Say, like, is this game even making us any money? I don't know if it's costing them any money, which I don't think it is. So everything is playing with house money at this point. So I think this is basically a cash engine for them. There's literally nothing wrong that they could do with this game from a financial standpoint on their end. Anyways, if you agree with me or if you have other theories or if you work at Netflix, feel free to drop a comment below. Otherwise, I think I have said enough. And that's all that I got on this topic. So, as always, thanks for listening. Sorry there's no visuals to go along with this. Consider it a podcast. Um, but I will see you again next time. Take care, everybody. Thank you for watching, and remember, I make YouTube videos for the American working man, because that's what I am, and that's who I care about.